Hi! Remember when I talked about New Year's resolutions?
I hope that I get at least in the range of 40, about 40 videos next year. That's kind of my goal.
Yeah, I'm not quite on schedule for that. One reason is that an additional chunk of my time is now used up by learning Japanese. Yep, I finally committed to it. I thought about learning Japanese for a couple of years now at least, and I mean, it's no secret that I love anime.
For me, anime is just an impressive medium to me because it allows people to show their ideas independent of a huge budget that normal movies or TV shows take. For anime, you need only the idea, and it doesn't matter what idea it is, everything has the same budget pretty much. And that's what I love about it. And that's also why there are so many awesome ideas in anime that you would never find in any TV show or anywhere else.
So at some point I started watching them in their original language, subbed, and I'm not a fan of subtitles, so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to learn some Japanese? Obviously, this is not a good motivation to learn a language, let alone a language that is so completely different from everything I know. Quick background for you. Japanese uses 3 different writing systems. 2 of them are pretty redundant and are basically used to express different syllables, which means vowels or consonant plus vowel combination. Like for example, ka, bu, to, or America. So all in all, there's a little over 100 characters, and honestly, you can learn them really fast using just some flashcard app. Which is exactly what I did a couple of years ago when I first wanted to learn Japanese. Then there's the third system, and without all 3, you can't read day-to-day Japanese, newspapers, books, whatever. The third system are kanji. Kanji are characters that represent words, phrases, or just ideas, and there's over 2,000 of them that are used in day-to-day life. You can probably learn to understand spoken Japanese without them, but if I were to learn Japanese, I would either do it properly or not at all. So, not at all it was.
There's just so many.
However, the idea stayed at the back of my head, and every now and then it randomly popped up again. And at the start of January this year, there was a small little thing that finally tipped the scale. I've seen some of my coworkers use the language learning app Duolingo over the last year or two to learn all kinds of different languages. And I personally am a huge sucker for gamified things. Back in high school, some friends and I were actually trying to come up with an experience point system for real-life achievements so we could calculate our levels.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
But when I first heard of Duolingo and checked it, there was no Japanese course. Well, I checked again, and there it was. Japanese beta. I got straight to it and basically flew through the first couple of lessons because they were all about the character systems that I already studied years ago. And I was hooked. Can't let the daily streak break. Have to get all the XP. Just to let you know, Duolingo is definitely not the way to go to learn Japanese. It basically just throws exercises at you without explaining anything, and you'll just have to figure it out by trial and error. But it did its job and got me started. There's actually a very similar app called Lingo Deer, and this one is focused on just teaching Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese and Japanese, and hence does a better job at doing it. I still use both of these apps every day actually. They are perfect for a commute to work and they really help you to keep practicing. But these apps are only 1 out of 3 parts of my approach to learning Japanese right now. In parallel, I did start learning the over 2,000 basic kanji. See, there's a really popular method to learning these kanji. You basically make up little stories to make sense and bring meaning to all these different symbols. Let me give you an example.
This kanji means outside, and it's composed of 2 elements. On the right we have the element for magic wand, while on the left we have the element for evening. And to combine these 2, you can come up with a story like the magic in the evening is so strong that you could only use your wand outside. this means crude. And once again, on the right side, we have the element for wand. On the left side, this time, we have the element for tree or wood. You can say that in case you carve your magic wand out of wood, you need to make sure that you keep the natural crude state of the wood, otherwise you'll lose your magic. But these stories can get really crazy really fast. Let's look at this one. This one is the kanji for read, and it's composed of 3 elements. Up here we have the element for flower. On the right we have the element for fire, and on the left we have the element for pack of wolves. And to combine this, you need to get a bit more creative. Let's say you look at a field of reeds, and the flowery part of the reeds are the cattails. So you use these cattails to lure in the pack of wolves into the reeds, and then you set fire to them to get rid of them. And that's how you combine these 3 elements in your mind to bring up the meaning read.
And yep, this crazy shit definitely works. After 3 weeks I memorized the meaning of 300 kanji and I totally remember these little stories. The problem is, while this helps you to memorize the meaning of the kanji, you still have no idea what the Japanese pronunciation for this meaning is. Hence, some people prefer to learn the writing and the pronunciation of kanji at the same time. And this book is supposed to help you to do exactly that. It still uses little stories to connect the meaning to the kanji, but it orders the kanji that it teaches you a bit differently. Instead of just focusing on the different elements, it also focuses on the frequency of the kanji in everyday use, and it gives you sample vocabulary to help you memorize the different pronunciations. Oh, have I not mentioned that? Yeah. One kanji usually has at least 2 different pronunciations and sometimes many more. And while you can still try to make connections between pronunciations, symbol and meaning, this gets very tough very fast. Before I was able to learn 20 kanji every day in about 30 minutes. Now I'm aiming for 8 every day and it takes me over an hour. However, now when I come across new vocabulary in, let's say, Duolingo, every now and then I am able to pronounce it before it tells me, and that is a very rewarding feeling. One thing I should mention is that you can't just read through the book and expect to remember all the kanji. You have to repeat them regularly and in a good spacing. And one app that is just perfect for that, it's a general flashcard app. It's called Anki. And honestly, there's a huge community base that already has all kinds of card decks that you can use. And it has one for this book too. And I'm actually using it, and this app is amazing. It kind of blows my mind how it always exactly knows when I'm on the verge of forgetting a certain kanji and brings it up right then and there so I can refresh the memory again and remember it for a little longer the next time. So what it does is every time you get a kanji right, it increases the interval until it comes up again. And while at first I was really annoyed with that because I just wanted to learn more and more, there were only very few kanji in there, it is an amazing system and it really works for me. The third part of my approach is some additional grammar, and for that I use Tae Kim's Guide to Learning Japanese, is I think what it's called. It's freely accessible online and there's even an app if you want to read it on the go. And I have to say, I really like it. It throws the grammar straight at you without cushioning any of it. And that is exactly what I needed to fill in the gaps from all the other apps I use. Well, that's my personal approach to learning Japanese right now, and only time will tell if it's gonna work out in the end. Yeah, I digressed. Why the hell am I doing all this? I blame this guy. This is Chris Broad. He moved to Japan after college to teach English, and when he arrived there he didn't know any Japanese, and the best part is he documented his experiences making YouTube videos.
So I've been in Japan about 2 months now, and I feel like I'm no longer on holiday. I really do live in Japan. And that's quite weird for me, as it's the first time I've ever lived abroad.
Now he's almost making mini documentaries about Japanese culture and food, and he's bloody great at it. Anyways, as you can tell, I really liked what I saw, and I thought, hey, maybe that's something I could do. Well, not teaching English, because you need to be a native speaker for that, but to go to Japan for a while and just get the hell out of my comfort zone. But that is not something one should decide after watching some internet videos. So instead, I plan to go there next year at least for a couple of weeks, and hopefully I can explore the country and the culture a bit. I really like some of the ideals of Japanese culture. For example, valuing the advantages for the society over personal advantages. But of course, that causes a number of completely different problems. That might be a topic for another video. Until then, appreciate your time on this planet. I'm out!